This lav mic was $38 on Amazon, but does it suck? Let's find out.
Playing the Misfit Heroes podcast.
Now, let's just jump right in. I recently upgraded my mic setup to the Shure MV7 for podcasting, and let's be real, it is amazing. It's my favorite choice for a mic. Go watch the video I made about it, and there's a link to buy that one or anything from this video in the description down below. However, I'm a man of the world. I like to travel and I like to go see people, and the Shure MV7 is definitely not portable. For that, you're going to want something much smaller, like a lavalier mic that you can just sort of attach to your clothing right here. That's where today's mic comes in, the Levn lm101. Like Keith Lee, I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10. Let's start with what it comes with. As we open the box and totally don't struggle to open the package at all, you can see that you're greeted with some simple packaging. You've got the instruction manual, a USB-C charging cord, and inside of the finely packaged plastic bag, you've got the self-charging case with the 2 mics on either side and the wireless receivers that connect to your phone or mobile device using either a Lightning port for Apple devices or a USB-C connector for Android. One thing to note, I'm an Apple user and I always have some type of case on my phone like this LifeProof Free that I'm currently using. In most cases, oftentimes you can't fit the connector snugly into the port without removing the case. To combat that, here's a tip that I like to use. I love Lightning extension cables. This one I'm currently using is from AGV, and it was $16 for a 2-pack. But they're braided and they have nice sturdy ends. There were cheaper options available though. With that being said, I simply plug the extension cable into the mics and the other end into the iPhone, and bingo bango, we're up and recording. The cool part is there's no fiddling around with Bluetooth connections or anything like that. Once you plug the mic receiver in, it automatically becomes your microphone default during recording with your camera app on your iPhone. There's no special app you need to download or anything like that. So, for ease of use, this thing is so easy your grandparents could do it. But with that being said, you simply clip the mic to your clothing like a shirt collar I'm using, and it sits there ready for recording. It is worth noting that there is no included pop filter, so you're going to have to rely on the mic's audio directly without any sound muting. Although the user manual does note that the mics have internal noise reduction built in. And there is a designated LED light on the mic itself for when noise is being filtered. It's pretty nifty. Now, on to how it performed. As I mentioned earlier, my regular mic is the Shure MV7, so I have high expectations for how a microphone should perform. But it would be pretty silly to compare these to that. I mean, they're just not in the same class at all. So for this video, I'm just going to compare it to my internal iPhone mic to show you the difference between having no mic at all to upgrading to a lav mic. Now, with that being said, here's what my microphone sounds like just using the built-in microphone from my iPhone. Sally plays Parcheesi on her big trip to Paris. Pay attention to the plosives as well. That's those hard P, B, S, and T sounds that you make. Notice also that the iPhone picks up tons of room and background noise, and it's very muffled or low volume sounding. Now, I'm going to plug in the receiver for the lav mic and show you what a difference having a dedicated mic will do for you. Sally played Parcheesi on her big trip to Paris. Notice it sounds like I'm actually in the room with you, and I think it makes a pretty significant change in the audio quality. So, I've said it time and time again, but even an inexpensive mic like this is a huge upgrade versus just recording with your iPhone. Speaking of that, for the $38 price point that I got it at, it's really quite the upgrade. And I'm definitely considering adding it to my routine setup for remote recordings. It definitely makes a difference. So, let's bring this video home. Why do you need this mic? Well, if you want a mic that you can take out in public and do recordings without breaking the budget, you should definitely check the lm101 out. I'm definitely impressed with the build quality and the sturdiness of it. The charging case is also pretty awesome too. I will note that right out of the box, the charging case wore the charge level down from 100 to 36 pretty quick. But the manual says that you can charge the whole setup to 100% in about half an hour. The manual also mentions you should charge the setup to fill once every 2 months or so, even if you don't use it. Some things I love about these mics. One, the portability. I mean, Look at this thing. Even in my big boy hands, you can see it'll fit in your pocket really easily. The mics being wireless is a huge plus too. Most lav mics in this price range I've seen are wired, and that means that you have to hide the wires, which can get a little bit uncomfortable when you're recording interviews with a guest. The real surprise here is the audio quality. This thing really does a good job of bringing in quality audio without the hassle, and the setup is a breeze even for the technically challenged. So, if I'm being honest, there's really not a whole lot not to love, but I do have a few complaints. The charging cable is criminally short, and while at this price point beggars can't be choosers, be prepared to buy another USB-C cable if nothing else for being more convenient to have a longer cable when you're out and about or using the mic setup on the go. The other main gripe is for the battery life. While I was recording B-roll to show you misfits how this device works, it used up about 75% of its battery and it had to be recharged. But once it got recharged, there weren't any further hiccups or anything like that. Most devices need to be charged anyway to full capacity, but let's be real, I'm impatient. Other than that, I think this mic setup is really great and a welcome addition to my kit. It adds a new capability of portability, and it accomplishes what it's trying to do really well. I'm looking forward to using it for future interviews without having to lug my current microphone setup around in one of those big old Pelican cases. So, there you have it, Misfits. I'm pretty impressed for a $38 mic setup for this to be as good as it is. By the way, I'm not sponsored, and I paid for this out of my own pocket. If the fine folks over at Levn would like to support me financially, I would not decline that offer, ever. Misfits, that's my review of the lm101. If you got one yourself, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I think in the future I'll probably do an episode comparing this setup to other lav setups and against the big boys in the podcast mic space, so we can see how it compares. I appreciate you watching this video, and if this video influenced you in one way or another, please be sure to reach out and touch those like and subscribe buttons. And be sure to leave a rating or review of the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else you listen to the podcast at. Also, again, links to buy all the products in this video are down in the description below. So, buy away capitalism. Thanks so much for watching this video, Misfits. And as always, if you do nothing else in this big, beautiful world today, let it be this. Be kind, love one another, and be a hero.